Welcome everyone to the bad and the worst of the 7th Ben 10 game. That's the right way to call Ben 10 Omniverse 2, a game that not only did things wrong, but did them in a devastating way in every possible sense. This game had great potential, but several issues made it the worst Ben 10 game. High voltage software is to blame for this disaster. This may sound familiar, as it's also the creator of the current top game, Ben 10, Protector of Earth. How could they do such a bad job? Just look. The story is set after Ben 10 Omniverse Season 3, with Ben stopping the first Inconsistencies invasion of Earth. How could he? This is not a drill, this is not a drill. Ben, realizing the severity, turns himself in before Earth's destruction. Emperor Milas and Dr. Psychobobs finish their plan to eliminate Ben 10. They never expected Asmode to rescue Ben in space, take him on the frog infiltration mission, and help him later save the universe. This is where the video game Ben 10 Omniverse 2 comes in, which is based on showing us the path Ben took until his arrival on Earth. The terrible part is how badly they tell you. Let me explain. Throughout the game, we'll have to keep running to reach our destination, and out of the 2 hours the game lasts, we'll spend a damn hour just running. I don't know what they were thinking by adding a running mode to this game, which is totally unfair and boring. You see, these segments of the game basically replace the exploration we used to do in other video games. We navigate corridors to overcome obstacles using various aliens at our disposal, which can be divided, like the muscular one, with which we can destroy some obstacles, the agile one, with which we can run faster, and the sniper, with which we can launch attacks. Now, many of the obstacles are placed in a way that's completely unfair, since they give you just a fraction of a second to react. In this running mode, the game tends to mess with you by constantly changing. The difficulty goes from being way too easy to giving you the toughest obstacle course you've ever seen. It's as if they intentionally wanted to test your patience, but since that's part of the gameplay, we'll discuss it later. So far, we've seen access to 10 aliens: Blocks, Crash Hopper, Forearms, Big Chill, Grab Attack, Heat Blast, Cannonbolt XLR-8, plus debuting Astrodactyl and Bullfrag. Aliens that nobody asked for, but that will be important for the development of the story. Especially for the last one, Asmode sends Ben to find the largest, strongest, and most veiny Incursian to get the Toad's DNA.
When we reach Earth, you'll need a disguise to blend in. We can't let anyone find out that Ben Tennyson is back, alright?
I'll use the Omnitrix to get some DNA from the first frog I see.
You can't do it like that. You'll have to be able to defend yourself. That's why you need to get the DNA of the strongest Incursion you can find.
This is a huge inconsistency because this Omnitrix will always give you the most capable form for fighting. Everything in this video game is wrong. You can tell they're trying to stretch out a story that really shouldn't be that long. The game could have been more interesting, but they gave us a mediocre one. Out of the 10 aliens, there's nothing worth saving, since the only time we can play with them freely, in quotes. When we stop running and stay to fight here, that's when we can finally get our revenge. Did I tell you that we had a kind of ranking for the aliens? The strong ones, the fast ones, and the snipers? Well, the most fun is playing with the fast ones. XLR-8, Astrodactyl, and Crash Hopper are aliens that are perfect for landing hits in this video game. The downside is that some attacks don't make sense. Crash Hopper throws mini punches, which isn't common either. This alien should use strong kicks and headbutts, but instead, he just has the same basic attacks as all the other aliens. Swampfire, an alien, also appeared 3 times in the Omniverse series. His spot among the 10 aliens isn't right. This doesn't justify his presence in this video game. What's more, everything seems to point to the fact that they actually wanted to include the original version of Heat Blast. All this character's attacks are like that, so there's no way to defend this game. Is it true that they included my favorite alien, Chill, who's super strong and has an awesome design? He seems like he's on steroids, but I still wouldn't defend him. Even during the dullest chases, he gives us what I call luck. You see, sometimes there are moments when we have to chase an enemy, which actually isn't hard. You just use the fast alien to get close, and then the sniper to take him out. Luck mainly affects the tedious paths. Sometimes the game says we've unlocked a shortcut, but it's unclear if we're actually using it, since the game goes on as usual and keeps making you waste time in this run around. We have only one enemy, the Inconsistencies, divided into frogs that appear everywhere. They're not hard to beat, but dealing with them repeatedly gets tiresome. There are also super frogs, which will occasionally appear because of other super frogs. Calling them mini-bosses is misleading, as they're not even tough enemies. In fact, there are no mini-bosses. In Ben 10 Omniverse 2, there really aren't any mini-bosses? While editing, I considered calling them that, but they're just not worth it. This is the Ben 10 game with the shortest duration, the smallest number of enemies, no mini-bosses, and the fewest levels, since we'll only go through the Incursion ship and Bellwood under town. And it's almost like the first Ben 10 game, Omniverse, which, if you didn't notice, has nothing to do with this game. And yet it's called its sequel. But where is Rook? The jokes we used to make about him are now being made about us. Supposedly malware survived and was meant to appear here, but didn't. If it's so different, don't call it a sequel or mislead us with this epic cover, which is honestly the best ever. It just makes you imagine that the greatest villains are going to be in the video game, where we could have the epic return of a major villain, where we would have several epic showdowns. Because of how difficult the situation is, as I mentioned earlier. This is based on the first Incursion invasion of Earth, where Ben could use all of his aliens. The only time we can fight a big villain is at the end, since that's the final boss. Here we could have an epic battle, or better yet, we could have it in the background while we try to hit Dr. Psychobobs in a disappointing fair style battle, where just like at the beginning, you'll end up disappointed. The only chance they had to do things right, and they decided to disappoint us, giving us a bad game from start to finish. If not, look, the ending is simply this. Anyway, for having a bad ending, for not having a variety of enemies, for having the worst final boss. And because I even caught a cold while recording this, Ben 10 Omniverse 2 is the worst game in the entire Ben 10 saga. Now only the 2 reboot games remain, which will be available. When we reach this goal, now yes, if we reach this amount, we'll have something big, really big. I send a very special greeting to these people who support the channel by becoming members. That's all from me. I'm Frio Diaz Mill, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.